Well, the US-India trade talks are set to resume tomorrow with Steve Witkoff, the US chief negotiator, arriving in India. The negotiations aim to strengthen the commerce ties between the two nations with a goal to more than double the bilateral trade by 2030. Now, the talks will focus on refining the details of this particular deal, including tariff adjustments and measures to ease market access. Remember, the United States is seeking increased access for its dairy products, corn, soybean, apples, almonds, as well as ethanol, while India is pushing for better market access for its goods. And both the countries, they're now working to address trade barriers and unlock the limitless potential of the India-US partnership.
ट्रंप और टैरिफ्स और अमेरिका के साथ जो इस वक्त कशमकश चल रही है, डू यू सी एन एंड टू दैट? आपको लग रहा है कुछ समाधान निकलता है या ऐसे ही उलझते रहेंगे हम लोग?
देखिए, मैं एस्ट्रोलॉजर तो नहीं हूं, लेकिन मेरा कन्विक्शन है कि भारत सही ट्रैक पे है और भारत जो कर रहा है अपने देश के हित में कर रहा है, अपने जनता के हित में कर रहा है। मुझे ये विश्वास है कि हमने जो अपने किसान हो, अपने मछुआरे हो, अपने जो छोटे उद्योग जगत से जुड़े हुए इकाइयां हैं, एमएसएमई सेक्टर है, हमारे कारीगर, हमारे कामगार, विश्वकर्मा, हमारे हथकरघा, इन सब की जो इंटरेस्ट है, इसको सर्वप्रथम रखना पड़ेगा, सर्वप्रिय रखना पड़ेगा। और उसको संभालते हुए जो भी हम निर्णय लेते हैं, वो मैं आपको विश्वास दिला सकता हूं, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी इन इंटरेस्ट को कभी सैक्रिफाइस नहीं करेंगे, भारत के हित को कभी सैक्रिफाइस नहीं। उसके अलावा तो बहुत मौके हैं, बहुत अच्छे डील करने की संभावना है और मेरा विश्वास है कि यूएस और भारत दो इतनी कॉन्सिक्वेंशियल डेमोक्रेसीज हैं, इतने महत्वपूर्ण देश हैं। हम दोनों की सोच, हम दोनों के लोगों के बीच जो आपसी रिश्ता, संबंध और आत्मीयता है, जो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री और राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के बीच मित्रता है, जिस प्रकार से हम सब मंत्रियों के बीच में लगातार संपर्क बना रहता है, दोस्ती बनी रहती है, मुझे लगता है कि कभी कभार समय लगता है। एंड ऑल गुड थिंग्स टेक टाइम, ऑल गुड थिंग्स कम आफ्टर अ लॉट ऑफ हार्ड वर्क, लॉट ऑफ पेशेंस एंड लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट। तो मैं चिंता नहीं करता हूँ, मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि भारत का भविष्य भी बड़ा उज्जवल है और जो लोग भारत के साथ रिश्ते बढ़ाएंगे, भारत के साथ व्यापार बढ़ाएंगे, उन सब का भविष्य भी बहुत।
And my colleague Himanshu now joins us on the phone line to get us more on this. Himanshu, the big question at this point of time is how does India now plan to address the US demands, especially for the increased market access for dairy products, and what concessions is the United States willing to make for Indian goods?
Well, definitely, that's a very important question that needs to be addressed. We have been told by senior Commerce Ministry officials that a U.S. team of senior officials are arriving tonight, and they are here only for one day. As you know, 5 rounds of negotiations have been held so far, in which no consensus has emerged on the big question. Is still insisting that it is not possible for India to give concessions, tariff concessions, as far as agriculture, dairy, etc. sector is concerned. We have been told by senior officials that the U.S. team is here. Tomorrow the talks will be held. It will be just a one-day visit of the U.S. Delegation. And this is more of a kind of a trust-building exercise in the sense that there was a lot of tension between India and the U.S. Following the imposition of 50% reciprocal tariff by President Trump and a series of statements that President Trump had made against India. So this arrival of the U.S. officials here for trade talks, of course, is a very categorical assertion from the U.S. that it stands committed towards the finalization of the first tranche of the bilateral trade agreement by October, November this year. That's a solemn commitment that President Trump and Prime Minister Modi had made. And as you know, that both the leaders have also decided to talk. So this is essentially to bring the negotiations back on the talking table. And I think once the officials, the negotiators sit face to face, many of these concerns and differences can be resolved. But we'll have to wait and see how they address these issues. But as far as India is concerned, the stand of Indian government is very categorical. It is not possible for India to give any kind of trade or tariff-related concessions as far as agriculture and dairy sectors are concerned. Osama.
Himanshu, also break it down for our viewers. What specific trade barriers are being addressed in these negotiations? And more importantly, how might this resolution also impact the bilateral trade between the two nations?
Well, in the February agreement that was held in Washington, as you know, the joint very categorically says that the first tranche of the proposed bilateral trade agreement actually targets increasing the bilateral trade from the existing $190 billion to $500 billion by 2030. That's a very ambitious target that has been set. And so that is the larger goal. And through these negotiations, a new space for enhancing bilateral trade is being worked out. But at the moment, lots of differences also exist. Lots of new agreements have also been reached at. And this visit by the U.S. team is essentially to affirm to India that U.S. stands committed to take the negotiation process forward. And as you know, there is a deadline that was committed by President Trump and Prime Minister Modi when they met in Washington in February, where they had said that by the fall of 2025, the first tranche of the bilateral trade agreement has to be finalized. So there is not much time left. Little over a month is left. So I think this is an exercise towards keeping that commitment that U.S. had made. But we'll have to wait and see how both India and the U.S. trade negotiators actually try and address all the concerns that they have, because India also has certain concerns with regard to the trade barriers that U.S. has imposed.
All right.
And U.S., of course, is pushing India to open up its agriculture and dairy sector.
Right. In fact, the U.S. President Donald Trump has already accepted that this has hurt the relations between U.S. and India. Now, the big question remains, how might this shape the future of U.S.-India trade relations? We'll have to wait and watch. Himanshu Shekhar, thank you very much for getting us all those details.